Now we will take the question 1 from your exercise part 1 to discuss how we can organize our data. First of all, you can see that here is a table. Actually, inside this table, there are lots of data. So it is very difficult for us to have a further analysis of this data. So now we are using a table to organize this data, which may help us to have a better discussion of this data. So now, first of all, we want to group this data into different groups. How to group actually is decided by the user of this data. But now the question have helped you to divide the first two groups. So now we can follow these guidelines to group the data. We can see that for each of these groups, the range of them is 5. So we can follow this guideline. So for the third group, it should be started with the 150 and should be end at 154. And the next group should be started from 155 and then ended at 159, etc. So after following the grouping method given by the question, these are the groupings. Then we go to the second part, that is the class boundaries. Actually, what is class boundaries? After we have formed the groups, at your left hand side, one problem is that actually the height should be a continuous data. So if here is a data given 144.4 that have some decimal places, which group should it belongs to? It should be 140 to 144 or 145 to 149. Actually, if the grouping is not this true, 144.4 is not belong to either of these groups. So how can we solve this problem? So have a further discussion of the class boundaries. Let us see the problem again. The problem is like that. Now we have a data is 144.4 cm, and the groups we formed, the first two groups, are the 140 cm to 144 cm, and the second group is 145 cm to 149 cm. So that here is a gap between these two groups. And 144.4 cm actually is nice on this gap. So we don't know 144.4 cm belongs to which group. So now we want to extend these two groups to fill this gap. How to do it? First of all, we find the midpoint of 144 and 145. Actually, it's 144 plus 145. Add them together and then divide by 2. Then you can see that it is 144.5. So we use the 144.5 cm as a boundary of these two groups. So for the number which is smaller than 144.5 cm, then it belongs to the green region. So we extend it. But for the blue region, we also extend it. So for all the numbers that which is greater than or equal to 144.5 cm, it will belong to the blue groups. So we extend this part also. So by using this principle, all the groups should have a new boundaries, that is the class boundaries, so that the boundaries between the first group and the second group, that should be 144.5. So class boundary of the second group is started from 144.5. But the boundary of the second group and the third group, that should be the middle of 149 and 150. That should be 149.5. So the boundaries of the second group should be 144.5 to 149.5. So after using this principle, we can find all the boundaries between the groups. It's like that. But how about the boundaries of the first group and the last boundary of the last group? We will use the same principle to extend them so that we can have a better organization for further analysis. And then we go to the class mark. What is class mark? Actually, we want to find a number to represent for the whole groups. Why? It's because for one of the group, actually there's a lot of numbers. So that if for further analysis, if we want to find a representative to represent them, how will we choose it? We will use the number at the middle of the group. Just like in the first group, the class mark we will use the number at the middle of 140 to 144. That is 140 plus 144. Add them together and then divided by 2. That should be 142. So the class mark of the first group should be 142. The class mark are found like that. So we go to the tally. Tally is a very useful tool to count the number of data belongs to the groups, which should be learned from secondary 1. So I showed you how to use the tally to count the numbers of data now. So for first group, the data lies between 140 to 144. So I count it now. 140 to 144. The first data should be at the 143. So we cross it. And please remember, to cross the data you have count is really important. Okay, so this is the first one. So we put 1 in the tally. And then 14. It seems that's only 1. So for second group, that's 145 to 149. So you can see that the 147, first one. The second one, 145 here. The second one. The third one, 149. There are 3 data belongs to this group. For the third group, 150 to 154, you have the first one, 150, second one, 153, and then 154, and then should be 152 here, and then 151. So here are 5 data, so we use the bar here, okay, to form one group. That's a 5. And this should be 154, 152, and then 154. So you can see that actually that's 8 numbers. So actually after we have used the tally, we can also fill in the frequency. Actually the frequency is the number of data found in this group. So for the first group, that should be 1 data. Second should be 3 data. So for the third group, you can see that there are 8 data. So this is the principles about using class boundaries, class marks, tally, and also the frequency. So you can fill in the last section by yourself. So I hope you know how to organize the data by using a table.